Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
I just found, I don't know where the hell this came from, but it's a Bigfoot like car deodorizer and it says the big sniff. What the hell? There could be a whole show on the shit I find on his desk.
Wow, that's actually pretty cool.
Oh,
And yes, Jenny, I really like the music. Um, the music actually came from a buddy of mine. His name is John L. Wyatt, and the song is called "Tears of My Heart." He's a rapper, and he's actually had a bunch of popular songs over in Europe. Even a number one song in Romania, I think it is. So I was listening to some of his songs, and Tears in My Heart came up. I really liked the beat to it, and when the four of us were creating this show, I got to thinking, we need we need something that really fits us. I didn't want anything that just to rip off of YouTube or anything like that. So I asked John L, hey, you know, can I borrow the music for this? And he said, go ahead. So I stripped the vocals off, and it's been on theme ever since.
Joanne, not poor Zach. I promise you, poor Zach is spoiled rotten. There ain't no damn poor Zach. He's very well taken care of.
Okay, I got this thing shared out to about 30 different groups.
Although right now he's taking care of me because he's up there cooking dinner.
So, okay, tomorrow, 13th Dimension is not going to go as planned. I was talking to John. He's going to be working really late tomorrow, and by the time he gets off of work, I'm planning on being in bed. So, what we're going to do is do a pre record on Sunday, and I will air it not the following week, but the week after that, which
Okay.
is uh, which Valentine's Day, of course.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So get this. We don't want to say this too loud, but
Uh oh.
Zach's leaving Saturday morning, right?
For
He's going to go see his uncle that's passing away in Montana.
Yep,
No.
Montana. That's what you were saying last week.
Okay. So he's leaving. Nobody is going to be in this house but me.
Uh oh.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. This is an awful big house with an awful lot of noises.
Have you been alone in that house before?
No, not at
Hmm.
night.
So how long is he expecting to be gone?
2 or 3 days.
Okay.
He's
Oh,
going to go. He's picking mom and dad up actually, but I want him to spend a day or two there.
okay. I was going to take him a day just to get there.
It is. Come on, please.
No, give her a day, Jan. Give her a day. Let's see what she's made out of in that house.
Well, see, I have this little thing that requires um,
Adult supervision.
some little metal things that go in it,
Oh,
and it makes some nice little noises. It will stay beside me the whole time.
okay. Yeah, because your neighborhood isn't exactly the most friendly of all neighborhoods.
Yeah, no, our neighbors pretty well. Well, the guy across the street is very way elderly. Um, the one on the other side, it's the kids that live there now, so they don't kind of watch neighbors like the older generation did. And then, oh my gosh, our neighbors next to us, all of a sudden in the middle of the night, gone, like everything gone, and no, they didn't come get them. I think they left on their own.
The guy with the really nice backyard that I admire all the time.
The other side.
Okay, so from where you're sitting, which way?
From where I'm sitting, it would be this way.
Oh, okay, that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the one that I see when I wake up in the morning and look out the window.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all gone, all of them.
Wow.
And I'm going to miss them because they had some really good food and they always shared.
Witness protection.
Yeah, no, more like more like back home. But
Wow.
they did that on their own because right now that stuff going on is in Aurora and Loveland.
Oh, wow. And speaking of things going on, we had another American tragedy last night.
And that was awful.
Yeah, it was. Finding out that a good majority of them were kids.
Yeah, the ice skaters.
Yeah, I
Yeah. From what I heard, now I didn't get to hear the actual press conference, but scrolling through Facebook because that's all correct news. Um,
right.
I from what somebody speculated, and that's the best one I've heard yet, is that the military were doing some, trainings there. They had their night goggles on and were blinded for a minute, and that's what happened. That's speculation. I don't know that for sure.
You would think that they would have um, communications with the air traffic controller.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody went off course. Something happened, but one of our uh, one of our paranormal sisters, um, she got a backyard view of it. She,
Alex.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
she said it was literally in her backyard.
and
Um,
that's just, I mean, and she takes things to heart. So I can't imagine how she's coping right now.
it's kind of hard to take a situation like this, to, kind of hard to not take it to heart no matter who you are.
Right, but watching it, I don't know. That's hard.
Oh, was that she said? She actually watched it?
She saw it like when it happened. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah, there is an Earth Cam video that I found on Wikipedia that shows it. Um, it's way off in the distance, but you can barely see the helicopter coming in, and then it hits the plane, and
Mm.
it's almost it's almost like the helicopter was headed right for the plane.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But
And like Jan said, that's a really good. That's the best explanation of that I've heard too. Which we can all speculate, but another thing. Um, did anybody hear about the volcano in the national park
no,
in Yellowstone? And I think everybody knows if Yellowstone goes up, we're done. We're
yeah,
all us first, but we're all done. Um, they're finding some seismic movement going on that they're a little concerned about.
hmm,
Yeah,
oh boy,
yeah, all kinds of things going on.
on the plane there were 64 people. The pilot was 22 years old.
Wow.
He I think it was 22. I read something really quick, like it was his first commercial flight, and he used to be military, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Um,
I didn't read any of that. I know we've got so much going on everywhere. 64. So there were 66 altogether that passed.
Seven. There were 64 on the plane and
Okay.
three on the helicopter.
Okay, I thought there was only two. Okay.
Yeah. When I talked to Dad about it, when I was over there a couple of hours ago, he thought that there was one survivor.
Yeah,
Uh,
they kept saying there was two in the water last night that they had pulled from the water, but when I read it, it had just happened and they were looking for other survivors, and I guess the two in the water didn't make it.
yeah. So so all 67. Uh,
Unreal.
it is. It really is. I
Everything going on is unreal right now. I mean, everything.
it
But
it is
on the bright side, I drank a whole gallon of water today. I finished my gallon.
good.
Now we'll see if that reflects on the scale tomorrow, but Oh, hello.
One day one day isn't going to make that big of a difference.
You'd be surprised. When I don't drink the water, there's a pound difference.
Yeah.
Now, I've never drank the whole gallon. Usually there's like, a quarter of it left, but it makes a huge difference. And then when somebody wants to cook, French dip,
French dip is good. Now,
it really is.
Scott, on the other hand, he wants to drown in his coffee. I told him that's not recommended this morning.
So I'm going to be me, and we're just going to go there right now. I watched this doctor today on TikTok. She's a badge doctor. And of course, I can't turn on the sound because I'm waiting for a phone call. And yeah, Jenny, this is half border collie and half greyhound, and she's crazy. Um, but
Aren't they all?
so, huh?
Aren't they all?
No, no, Pickle Tom. Yeah. So the words come up here. Um, Foods you can't eat because it'll make your vagina stink. Like, what the holy hell right now? And I'm looking at this spicy food, coffee. And they went down the list, and I'm like, holy hell, nobody's ever told me I stink, but I'm going to tell you right now, I eat every one of them damn things. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Coffee, spicy food, red meat. You know what? You can kiss my ass. I'm just going to stink. That's all I'm going to tell you. Don't eat spicy coffee.
Oh,
Oh my God.
don't give Scott any ideas. He'll do that. He'll pour the ghost pepper sauce in his coffee.
You know that they do say that the capsaicin, like in pepper or peppers or anything spicy, supposed to help you lose weight. Bullshit.
And it ain't working for me.
It ain't working for me either. So that I know that's bullshit.
Yeah, because I've got about 15 bottles of hot sauce.
I had no idea that the left side. Wait. I was on a video call with a friend of mine who's Irish that lives in the U.S. and I gave an opinion. I heard him asking, "What was I some side?" I had no idea. Oh, until the left side, Biden. Oh, to this day, I don't know who's left side, who's right side. I know what's right and wrong. That's all I know.
Yes. Yeah, I don't worry about who's two. It's all about, morality.
Sounds like heaven. Ooh. Okay, so I've never had that issue. Asparagus. Asparagus. I can
Asparagus
imagine.
is good.
It is good, but I can imagine because I know what it smells like when you pee after asparagus. I can't imagine what that. No, no.
Oh, I've never paid attention to that.
There's no way you could not. Like, men are standing over the top of it. That shit's rank. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's, oh, no. No.
We're getting all kinds of opinions tonight, folks.
I said I'm on the side where troops come into my country giving us my country a target. So, yeah, I do have it. Go, Shandy.
The thing is, we all need it a bit. And Scott was actually saying something about that on his show earlier today. Something similar.
I saw a guy. He was a black man, and he was upset because they took his neighbors or something to that effect. Now, his neighbors were legal. They were legal. They were detained. Here's the problem. They were Native American.
I heard something about Native Americans are being rounded up now. I don't see how that could be possible.
My son is now carrying his Native American card. It is possible because if you look at my son, he looks half Hispanic. If I mean, they're not that far apart.
Yeah,
So,
you can tell a difference though.
nope, you really can't. My ex-husband was, you can tell a difference in how they talk, but that's about it. My ex-husband, my son's dad, full-blooded Indian, had short hair, and he got put in the cell with the Hispanics, and they told him, "You go in there with your kind." And he was like, "I don't speak that kind." And he's like, "Yeah, whatever." They really thought he was Hispanic.
Wow.
And granted, he didn't have that, chiseled nose, but oh my gosh. It's like, are we seriously that racist these days that we have to be that nasty? And this was, gosh, my son's in his 20s. This was 26 years ago. So, yeah, they are encouraging all of the Native Americans to carry if they have a birth certificate or a card, his Native American card, carry it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm I'm looking on here. I really shouldn't be doing this because I know it's not healthy for me.
yeah,
But I look on Wikipedia, which in itself is not completely reliable.
right.
I look on here timeline of the Donald Trump presidency, so it's basically um, kind of like explaining what each day is during the first 100 days of his the first quarter of his presidency. I see that today somebody named Doug Bergen has been confirmed as the Secretary of Interior.
Okay.
Um, I know that they had been talking with RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard about their nominated positions. Um,
Okay. And
so
Jenny is absolutely right. And what's really sad is I've seen different countries on TikTok, and they're saying, "Sisters of the U.S., we stand with you." And I'm like, Does everybody else? Why are we not seeing how bad it is? Well, some of us do, but why are we not seeing how bad it is, and everybody outside is? It's um, I don't get it. Oh, and then concentration camp being built.
Guantanamo Bay.
That's it. It's not on American soil. That's the loophole there. That's why it was built in the first damn place, so you could torture people that was not on American soil.
The clip that I saw him saying is that he was sending the absolute worst of illegal aliens to Guantanamo, but that's not the notion that I'm getting.
If that was the case, I would agree with that. But if
Yeah,
it's
I would
not the
too.
case, I have a problem.
Yeah, I would too.
Hi, Keith.
Um, hey, Keith, saw a bit of the
Sure, Jenny.
show that you and Jan were on with him a couple days ago.
That was so much fun. So much fun.
It looked like it, and Keith also looked like you're making some really good progress on your house too.
Yeah, that's what we saw too.
He's been working on that place for years.
He really is a good host. He's awesome.
So, so I've seen two different things with the RFK question, and one person was just really, really grilling him on stuff that he wasn't even sure if he actually said or not, but
Oh
apparently
no.
this guy thought he did. And then there was another guy that was just praising him. So automatically I'm thinking, okay, one's Democrat, the other's Republican. And then I saw a headline with Tulsi saying that she took offense to a Republican asking her a specific question and really slammed the Trump admin team. Um, what that was all about, I don't know. I just saw the headline. I did not have time to read it. Um, oh, and okay. Now I'm seeing. No, it's the video. Trump on visiting collision site. Last night's thing, and some. Apparently, he was quoted saying, "You want me to go swimming?" Now I can't believe him saying something like that. But I do know that he had posted something last night saying prayers for the families and all of that. But
Jenny, I have not seen that. I have not seen that. I'll have to do some research on that. I know there's a lot going around that is not quite what was said. Like it's been twisted around quite a bit. Um, do I doubt it? No, but I have not heard anything about that.
it literally just popped up on my feed.
That did?
The one about him saying, "You want me to go swimming?" Yeah, it just popped up. It was on MSN.com.
Oh no, I was talking about what Jenny just asked.
Oh, said that any trans people will now be brought
Gender jail.
gender.
Good night, Keith.
Oh, I think I know what she's talking about. I think what it is that, like
Yeah,
for
no, no.
example, if a man has transitioned to a woman and is convicted of crime, that person goes to male jail.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah,
And if a woman transitioned to a man and is convicted, goes to a female jail. I did read that.
okay. So I'm sorry. I I have a different view on that than most people probably. But is it affecting my life? What gender they want to be? Not right now. I mean, if they have transitioned completely and then they should be whatever they transition to. If they have a penis, they should be in with the men. If they have a vagina, they should be in with the women. I mean, I don't. Now, I do understand if they have not transitioned completely because, things can happen. Things happen anyway in jails that are unreal. But,
Yeah.
we don't want, I don't know. That is, I would not want to be president. I can tell you that. There's so many touchy subjects that you just you don't want to hurt anyone.
There are, and even if you say the slightest thing that leans towards one way or the other, oh, you're against transition people. Or if you go oh, you're against. You know what? I am tired of that shit. That's why I don't talk to people about this stuff. I just lay out facts. I try to keep my opinion out of it. I just lay out facts.
Right, right. And I'm more trying to think, how would I feel if I was this person or this person? I don't ever
It's
want to
really
put.
hard to do so with that kind of thing because never in my mind did I ever thought I would want to become a woman. And I'm sure it never entered your thought that you want to become a man. So I can't put myself into that position and try to understand it.
I and that's my downfall, where I have a lot of trouble, siding with one or the other, because I can put myself in almost any position and understand it, or try to understand it.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
not for me.
I I don't know. I guess that's the empath in me, where I try to understand everybody's point of view, and more, not point of view, more their feelings. I don't care why they did it, how they did it, what what their reason was. It's happened. Okay, now let's deal with what's happened right now. How would you feel? If you have a vagina, if you went through the surgeries to have one, and hopefully, food don't make it stink when you do that. I don't know. But if you never mind, Nick, that's a thing that you
Yeah, I
missed.
was about to say, what the hell did I just step into?
It,
You might want to step back out for me.
Yeah, yeah, maybe I should.
so
Okay, bye.
So, I can understand that, but I do not, like Jenny said, I do not agree with, if I don't care if you're transitioning, if you have a penis, you need to be put in with the men, because you can hurt the women, rape the women.
Mhm.
I and even if anybody's known anybody who has been in prison, I don't care if you're straight when you go in. If you're there for a while, you're gonna do when in Rome. It happens. I've heard about it. The biggest, burliest, straightest man comes out, not, I mean, he might be straight, comes back out, but he ain't while he's in there. Willingly or unwillingly, it happens. So I don't think you should add to that by doing that.
Yeah, because prison really does a lot of shit to you.
It does.
I can imagine it would.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was laughing at when Todd said.
What about the one I'm married to? It's mine. I don't know. So Nick, just to catch you up, we were talking
Yeah, I
about
was just thinking,
food.
what the hell are we talking about?
I got off on a tangent because I saw something today that of foods. I saw a TikTok from a doctor, a female doctor, who was talking about foods that make your vagina stink if you eat them. Well,
We went there, Nick.
I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
could tell. I guess I came in at a bad time.
Well, no, you should have come in
Oh,
then.
that's not the only thing we talked
Oh,
about.
really?
I wouldn't
Oh,
have to
there's.
redo
Oh,
the
wait. There's more.
conversation.
There's
We
more.
started off serious. We started off talking about that midair collision last night,
Oh, yeah.
and then we just kind of went from there.
Yeah, so yeah, you know I'm gonna go there if I see some bullshit like that.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that, honestly.
So it's one of those things that the people that have been on this show for a long time. So this story, excuse me, what?
Why would it be a fairy
Fairy
tale?
tale.
Please explain. Wait. I got this. I got this. Please explain. I'm giving you a chance. Please explain what you're talking about.
Yeah, because my daughter's got some female doctors, and they've been really, really good for her.
I actually had to change from my male doctor to my female doctor because my male doctor is the one that didn't catch my blood clots while they were in my legs and let them go to my lungs. So, and
Now,
you know
I'd
what?
have probably been changing doctors at that point, regardless.
Yeah. And if it was a female that happened with, I would have changed doctors because they didn't listen to me. But shit happens, and I don't care, male or female. You got your degree, handle it.
So, in other news, um,
Yeah, I know other news.
let's talk about something paranormal for once.
Yeah.
We talked about something
I
paranormal
was
for
I
probably
was
the
originally
last
gonna
4 weeks.
I'm gonna be honest. I was originally gonna come in and first apologize. I was running late because I was just finishing up exercise, and now I'm starting to think, well, maybe it
Yeah,
was
40
maybe
minutes
maybe it
late.
was to say maybe it was a good thing that I showed up late.
Oh, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
And you're forgetting we still have, well, officially an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah. I did
Female
think about you
doctor,
guys. I did think about you
both
guys
legs,
earlier because
female pilots. Excuse. I'm sorry. We're gonna handle this real quick. I'm sorry. Where are you from?
Okay, I think we have somebody with a sexism
Oh,
complex.
oh, oh, oh!
yeah,
I got this. I got this. I got this, sweetheart.
now he's saying it's a joke.
Sweetheart.
I okay, really quick. I do want to say this. There are some things you don't joke about.
No, it's
And
not.
I will give you a perfect example of something that I heard about that happened here yesterday. So we had some people. We have a Dollar General, and there was this guy that made this post. There was a lady in front of him. She was wearing a mask, a surgical mask. Yes, there are still some people wearing those things even today.
Yep.
So she and they all know each other. Him, her, the cashier, they know each other. She looks at him and says, "Give me all your money." And they start laughing. So she makes her purchases. She leaves. The cops arrive.
Oh,
Oh
Now,
no.
keep in mind, the guy didn't call. The cashier didn't press a button to have the police come over. What they think happened was that the audio in the security camera listens for key words. And when she said that phrase, it alerted the police, but she was already gone when they came to the store. But they went and got her, arrested her, but the guy that was behind her, he had to explain to the police what was going on. The cashier had to explain to the police what was going on. So they let her go. So so
don't
that
like that.
moral of the story is not only watch what you say, but there are some things you don't joke about.
Yes.
Oh,
Very true.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay. We're going to stop that right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know about anybody, we on this show accept everybody.
Yes.
That's not okay. That's their choice. We're not going to bash anybody for any reason. This is no. And we're going to go back to the woman thing, sweetheart. If you're bashing everybody, it sounds to me like you might have a small penis complex. And if that's the case, you need to go to counseling and take care of that, but don't put it here.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
And stop watching this show because we don't want that.
No, absolutely not. Okay, so we can censor our show. Watch how this works. I promise you,
Let's do it.
if you continue to watch, you're going to be very ashamed, and you're going to go hide in your little hole with your small pee-pee. Okay,
Yeah, I just saw what he just recently wrote.
and play with it all by yourself. So
We do joke, but we're not gonna. There's a line,
Yeah. Not
and
to a point where we offend others.
yeah, we don't cross that line.
oh, Jenny, holy shit.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Have you been somewhere where you could have brought something home? Or have you been maybe looking up something? Yeah, it's something like that, but we ain't about all this.
Yeah, we pretty much
It's
were yeah, we were, Ed.
it's on one of our
I was
YouTube
going to see
channels.
which page is that coming from because I don't see the logo in the corner for some reason.
It's coming from one of the YouTube
Oh,
channels.
yep, I see it now. Never mind. I forgot it's on the opposite end this time.
Yeah.
yeah, he would have. No, I'm the wrong one to do that with because
Yeah,
you'll go cry.
Mhm.
that's why you didn't see it, Ed, because it was from the YouTube page.
So what where I was trying to lead us to, um, we haven't talked about anything paranormal for what, 4 weeks.
Yeah, quite a while.
I have to admit it's actually refreshing
Yeah.
because it does get a little old. Um, a new video came out about Conjuring House.
I
Oh
saw.
golly.
Yep, I saw that too.
Yeah. So somebody this is on Dave Chowder's page, and it's a telecast I can't even
Telecast.
telecast. I swear I have a speech impediment. It's called talking. Um, somebody was interviewing a couple of people from Sweden.
Mhm.
They were scheduled to come out here, travel 3,000 miles for however long it was supposed to be. And they were assured by Jennifer Nunez that everything was okay. Come on out. So they did. They get to the front door. No, I don't think they made it to the front door. And they were told they couldn't be here. They had spent $12,000 on this trip because they were promised that they could have the Conjuring House for the night. And then there was another part in that video where she allegedly, well, not allegedly, she said that the third party company that was handling the bookings for her, handling the money, did not send anything to her. The third party company said that they did send to her to certain accounts. So she got all this money. that she's claiming that she did not get money. So somebody's having their ass taken to court, sued big time, and she's going to lose everything. Bye, Nick.
Well, here's the thing. They called that company. They called that company that she claimed that was her third party vendor for the getting the money, and they said they sent it all to her.
Yeah.
So now what? Dumb, crazy broad. But here's what scares me. Here's what scares me. She was on that show, and the clip that I saw was the same one you saw. The clip I saw, she did not act like she was crazy on there.
No, this that particular clip was 2 months ago.
She was crazy long before that.
Yeah, but that sit down interview that she had with the other person on the telecast, I want to say that was about 2 months ago, because they were threatening to, no, they had already pulled the license, and they pulled the license right around Thanksgiving, if I remember right.
I think, well, no, they had told her that they were going to pull it. I don't think they pulled it till November or December, but they told her, no, they pulled it, and then she said, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yes.
And then police showed up and said, no, you will not do this anyway. And
Yeah, and that was when the folks from Sweden
yeah,
were.
and that's why I worried about our girls, Anne and Renata, when then, did they make it? Did they end up getting to go? What happened? I know that was in the middle of the crazy stuff.
Yeah, they. I don't recall seeing anything negative from them. I don't recall seeing anything bad. No, Nick got a phone call. Um, oh, well, it, it'd be a bitch trying to scroll all the way down.
I, you know, Something has to happen with that. Something has to happen because that's putting everybody. They said she can get her license back if she does all the. That's what that show said. That
Yeah, she has to bring the place back, has to bring it up to current code.
and then reapply. Now, I don't think the town is going to allow her, after all of her bullshit, to have a license because they do. It does have to go through the council.
It does, but at the same time, they would probably be looking at it from an economic standpoint, because when people do come over, they do go to other places. They're in town, even if it's just to go get a bite to eat or whatever.
True, but I do think that, like her neighbor across the street has a real problem with all the traffic coming and going.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
So, if enough people stood up and said no, I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I hope it never happens again.
The year's young.
Yep.
Offered her more money that the house is worth to buy it. You know what? Great. If he's a better person, I'm all for it.
Yeah. And I basically anybody but her.
I would
Don't say that.
Well,
Say
actually,
that, because
no.
that
You know what? No one. Wait a minute.
basically,
You know what? I just kind of thought to myself, thinking in my head, thinking, wait a second. You know what? I'm going to take that back. So because we all know someone else who'd want it.
I'd love to get my hands on that house.
Huh?
I'd love to get my hands on that house.
I think any of us would.
Yeah, but I don't think I would subscribe to the whole anybody but her
Yeah,
because
I take that back.
yeah, I remember 4 years ago when we were having the presidential election between Trump and Biden, and there were so many people saying anybody but Trump. And I thought, you don't want to do that. You
Yeah.
don't want to do that. And then, you know, all this stuff with Biden. Well, now it's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Yep. That's why, again, that's why I'm taking it back now. Like, I thought, okay,
Yeah.
wrong thing to say.
Because there are a few people in the paranormal field that I would not want to see get their hands on that house.
I can already tell you one of them. It would definitely be Zach Bagans. I already know that for a fact. I wouldn't want him
I
to get it.
wasn't even thinking about him. I was thinking of some of the lower people, like
Oh, yeah, yeah.
uh, okay, so I'm reading a post here. It's actually from Clarissa, and I actually remember seeing something about this, and I can't remember who. She said not political, just facts. People out there killing other families and getting married right after that, just living life. Who is that? Somebody got married right after killing somebody. I
Oh,
remember seeing that in the news.
that sounds totally messed up. I didn't hear anything about that.
I did. It was just recently,
Like in the last few days.
sometime in the last week or two.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything about that, but I'm going to tell you something. We kind of had an inkling that some of this was going to be happening, and we have a well, Zach's brother has a child, so my nephew. Um, he was dating a woman from a different country, and it was not Mexico, but it doesn't matter what country. Um, he was dating her, and we knew this was coming up, and he married her on Christmas Eve so that this wouldn't happen. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that marriage, it's not as quick as you think it is. Like, oh, we're married and it's done. It's not like that. It takes a lot of paperwork. It takes a lot of, it's not just, oh, I'm going to marry somebody right now. It doesn't work that way.
I remember who it was.
Who?
Um, well, she's talked about it. It's the guy that was involved in the accident with her son.
Oh, okay.
Got married less than a week right after it happened.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Was it already planned? I mean,
Yeah, it was already planned.
okay.
It was already planned. Yeah.
Okay. That would be hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I, I, I can't judge anyone. I really can't. I'm gonna back out of that one because I just
Yeah.
I can't judge. I can't judge either side. Oh, Jenny, why do you worry about her there? What's going on? Is there issues there like here?
She just said that her daughter is biracial, so they're probably having a race issue over there right now.
I just don't. I'm not built to understand that. I'm just not because humans are humans to me. I'm just not built to understand it. And I'm really not built to understand countries either, because we're all humans. I mean, who decided this is this race and this is this race? And you can't cross lines and you're a different country. I understand politics is what decided that. And everybody wants to be governed differently. I understand that. But holy shit. We are all people.
Yep.
I I'm just not built to get all that.
Well, and it's not even just, you know, because again, I'm speaking from experience. It's not even just like based on race or anything. It goes as far as with my issues that I've dealt with because of my autism. They look at you differently. They treat you differently. All this other stuff, and that's the same thing. It's like we're all human here, and it shouldn't even matter based on race or disability, sexually or whatever. Practically, it's just so I've experienced kind of that prejudice environment. I still, in fact, there's even times I still at times experience that to this day, 25 years later since it first started when I was very young.
You
You
know,
know, there's been a few theories out there about those with autism that I have heard over the years. One was, I forget who it was, but somebody said that autism might be the next step in the evolution of
Yes.
humans.
I have heard that too. I have.
Yeah, a lot of people I've heard of I mean, have been telling me that, and it's when I think about that, if that's like the next step. Sometimes I also think, I mean, again, maybe that's not the case. I just think of it this way, but sometimes I also think some of this hostile behavior that I've dealt with over the years, sometimes I feel like it's kind of like, I guess you can describe it as an act of jealousy, for lack of a better term, or something like that. If
Well,
it,
what it is because it's different. It's
yeah, it's different.
just
Yeah, nonetheless,
like,
it's different.
when they started desegregating the schools
Yep,
and bringing black people into the schools, and the whites just did not want it. You're different. Your skin color. You're less than us. That's what they would deal. That's what they were dealing with back then, and
yep,
with mental capabilities. That's what they were having. They were dealing with then too.
yep. They didn't want them with them.
I watched a show or a documentary, a short one yesterday, and it was on um, Down syndrome and how Downs got their name. It was by the doctor, and that doctor had he saw used to you anybody different was put into a home because that was a shame to your family, and so they were it wasn't just Down syndrome, it was all kinds that were in this home, and they were being abused. We all know what happened back then.
Mhm.
So this doctor came in and was like, no. He implemented crafts and hobbies and different things, and demanded fair treatment for these people. And this was a long time ago before that was a thing. So, and I got to see all the pictures, and it was just so cool because it was back when they had those bushy, sideburns and different things. And they had a Down syndrome man with the bushy, they had him shaved, they had him in a suit. And when he took pictures of his patients, it was always in taste, where they were dressed up like he was. They were shaved, they were clean, and that's how he kept them when he was there. And that's how Down syndrome got their name. His name was Dr. Downs. But I have never met a more loving, sweet person than someone with Down syndrome. They're pure. I mean, they are the absolute best thing there is. Now, we fear things that are different,
Jan.
and that's what's going on.
No, I've just laughed what Jan said.
So, social media is the root of truth and evil. Yeah, I treat everyone the same. Well, all but Nick. He's a
To,
beefsteak. Yeah.
to go along with what you were talking about, as far as how some of these syndromes get names, I did not realize this, but Asperger's um, was named after a Dr. Asperger
Mhm.
Mhm.
who was a part of the Third Reich.
Seriously, wow.
He was a Nazi, and he was responsible for the deaths of many thousands of children with mental disabilities during World War II.
Why in the hell would you give somebody? A, why would you give that name so it can carry on to someone who done some?
Horrible
I
things.
have
Yeah,
no, I have no idea.
I
That's like
understand why they did it with, Dr. Downs. He
that's
didn't
like
Yeah,
understand.
if you're a good person, absolutely name something after you. But
that's like the best way I could describe. That's almost like ironically enough, this was another Nazi, a famous one. Like that's like giving the name of that. Who was that famous Nazi that fled to South America afterwards? He was known to have a strange fascination with twins. Um, you guys know who I'm talking about, or
I have only heard the rumor that Hitler might have gone to South America.
well, there was South America actually kind of became a safe haven for Nazis that were trying to escape. Of course, some of them fortunately were still caught even in South America. They brought them back either to the United States or Europe to face charges because it was crimes against humanity. But anyways, there was among one of those that managed to escape and lived in South America for the rest of his life. Again, he was known to have a strange fascination with twins. He was known to conduct obviously probably horrific experiments with twins. And so, with what you just said, Adrian, that just made me think, well, with all the twins that we have in this day and age, it's like that's, and to name also those like who have Asperger's after a Nazi doctor, that's like the same
And
thing for the
Kelly,
guy that conducted these horrible experiments on twins, and his name would have been carried over to that as well.
Yeah.
Joseph Mengele.
Yeah, Joseph
Really?
Mengele. That's
Really?
who it
I
was.
didn't know that. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah, she's a
I'm
twin.
gonna hold on. I'm gonna run and get a drink. Jenny, if you don't mind, what kind of special needs does your daughter have?
Yeah,
I have seen her and she is beautiful.
Joseph Mengele. He was also, ironically, he was nicknamed, however, the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
Yep, I see that.
Yep, he lived till 1979
He died in Brazil.
in Brazil. He actually, I looked up what happened to him. He actually drowned.
Did he really?
Yeah, it says here, again, just keeping it real short. His health had steadily been had deteriorating since 1972. He suffered a stroke in 1976, experienced high blood pressure, and developed an ear infection which affected his balance. On
Yep.
February 7th, 1979, while visiting his friends Wolfram and Lizolet Bossert, if I'm saying it right, in the coastal resort of Bertioga, Mengele had a heart attack while swimming and drowned.
Wow.
Yeah, and his body was buried in Embu das Artes under the name Wolfgang Gerhard, whose identification at Mengele had been using since 1971. Other aliases used by Mengele in his later life included Dr. Fausto Rindon and S. Josie Alvarez S. Spazdu, if I'm saying that right. But yeah, he drowned, and he was, I mean, at that time he was only 67 years old, but it didn't really matter like how old he was, especially after everything that he did during Nazi Germany. I mean, I don't know if I could really consider that justice for all those who died under his under his thumb, but either way,
For the families of those whose death he's responsible for, that would not be justice.
that's what I kind of considered. It
Yeah.
may have been an unfortunate event for him, but it wouldn't be justice for the families. Either way, he escaped. He escaped and was never deported back to Europe and faced charges for what he did.
I think there were a lot that escaped that.
There were, like I said, for whatever reason, like a lot of the South American countries, like Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, a lot of them became havens, and for whatever reason, they allowed former Nazis to be to stay there or not be deported back to Europe or U.S. If the U.S. was going to try to arrest them too, but I don't know. I still never really understood why South America did, but still, I just thinking about it now, especially like I said, that Asperger's was named after a Nazi doctor. Just I never would think of that in a million years.
Yeah, I never knew that until about a week or so ago when a couple of people were making posts on Facebook about that. So
And
I looked it up and I'm thinking, why would they do that?
yeah, like why would they name it after someone like that did something truly horrible? I mean,
Unless unless he named it himself.
yeah. I just think to
I don't know.
myself, I mean, it's shocking to me because you know me. I've gone to a lot of. I told you guys about the passages meetings I go to where we have a whole bunch of people with Asperger's and autism. We all get together once a month during the usual now on the third Tuesdays of each month, and however, I've been going since I've been going since my time in high school, and so for almost 20 years now, looking back, um, well, maybe not 20, over 15 years since I started, there was never one time they ever brought up where that term originally came from. So this really kind of took me completely by surprise.
Let's see here. Further controversy arose in the late 2010s over allegation that Asperger referred children to the I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Children's Clinic in Vienna during the Nazi period. The clinic was responsible for murdering hundreds of disabled children deemed to be unworthy of life
Oh God.
as part of the Third Reich's child. Um, I always screw up this word.
Which
Uh, euthanize
euthanized.
programs. Although the extent of Asperger's knowledge to this fact and his intentions in referring patients to the clinic remain yet to be ascertained.
Makes me wonder now, like if they're gonna. I mean, is this really going to be a term that's going to stick forever? If more people start knowing where this term came from, if they're going to want to change it to a different name.
It's been called that for the last 80 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So changing the name is not going to be easy. It's going to
No,
take
it's
a
probably
couple
not
of
going to.
generations to change it
Right, right,
because you're gonna have people like us who has always known it for that name, and then
right.
now all of a sudden you got to call it something else. That's like you decide all of a sudden your name is Bob.
Yep. Or again, not trying to get political. It's like with Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America. Or you know what? Actually, I could throw out a perfect example of a new name of something, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it. Like here in Chicago, we got it's supposed to be called the Sears Tower, and now it's called the Willows Tower. And
Still call it Sears Tower. I don't care about the name.
exactly, I'm like, we don't like us Chicagoans don't like it when it's called the excuse me, Willis, not Willows. We do not call it Willis. No matter what. To us, it's always going to be Sears Tower.
Okay, please explain to me why the name was changed.
I really don't know why they changed it to begin with. I mean, that was like 15 years ago that they decided to change it. Let's
So
check.
we see how far behind I am. That's great. That's
So
why I come on the show for facts.
it was renamed in 2009 after the Willis Group, a London-based insurance company, leased office space in the building.
Okay,
And
so that's the reason. Just like arenas and coliseums and stadiums getting new names.
yeah, and
So
ori- and originally I don't know if you guys knew this. In 2000, I think it was 2011. So like 2 years after this official name change, they also wanted to take it one step further with the Sears Tower. They wanted to repaint the entire building to silver after it's been black for several decades. And
Ah,
but here's the funny part was all of us all of us throughout Chicago, we were like, no, you guys have already done enough with trying to change the name of the building. You're not going to change the color of the Sears Tower. It was built as a black building. It's always going to remain black, and we're going to keep it that way for as long as it can. We want it to still be the way it looks.
Who's going to want to go up that high and paint a building?
oh,
I
they
don't even know
do.
how that even be possible,
They
but
wash windows on it.
they do. But painting is another story, though.
Eh, it can be done very easily, but that
Besides,
doesn't mean it should.
Well, I'm sure they do repaint. I'm sure they have to repaint it every now and then, like to keep the black paint and stuff on. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I just know that there were a number of not necessarily protests, but like people that were protesting against being painted silver, and we actually were successful in it. After 2-3 years, the state canceled painting the Sears Tower silver. So it's been its black color ever since. So, but
just,
changing names though, but
just like the
unfortunately the
Statue
name
of
changes.
Liberty.
What's that?
Just like the Statue of Liberty, it wasn't always green.
No, it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, we
I think
prevented it.
it's
The paint
bronze
job. We
color.
prevented the paint job from happening, but unfortunately, we didn't do anything about the name change. We've been trying to keep, but no matter what, it's going to always be the Sears Tower to
Well,
us.
the thing is, when they go for naming rights, that means this is a business for them.
Yep.
So the Willis Company is paying for the right to call the
Oh
tower the
yeah.
Willis Tower.
Oh yeah.
Just
Oh,
like here in Indianapolis, we got the Lucas Oil Stadium.
mm-hmm.
It's being paid for by Lucas Oil. That they're making,
Yep.
I don't know how many millions of dollars.
Right. Several $1 million.
Yeah. So so maybe 10 years from now, another company would come in and purchase the naming rights, and Lucas Oil will go away, and then it'll become the I don't know. It'll become the Nick Mulay Stadium.
Oh, speaking of, have you guys been listening to? I don't know, Nick. Do you guys have like Kroger, Dillon's, King Soup, or anything over there?
We got Kroger's our parent company at the grocery store. So yeah,
Okay. So here, I
Focus is
don't
right
know.
down the street from me.
Okay, I don't know if they're doing it there, but here, Denver and Loveland and I believe Aurora, they're going on strike.
they are.
They
Really?
are, and it's because they're not getting the pay they deserve, and they're not getting the benefits that they feel they deserve. So that's going to be a big thing here, especially since our groceries are. Oh, imagine this not going down.
It looks
So
like it's a Colorado thing.
I believe
I was
that.
gonna say we would have gotten word about it at our store.
Yeah. So that's our big thing right now is that's one of my favorite stores, and it's going to be shut down for a while. So I'm going to go tomorrow, and I'm going to stock up. And
Grab everything you need.
yes, I am. And hopefully it's over soon and they get what they deserve. But um,
Okay, I'm looking at this. Strike vote meetings will be held on January 29th through the 31st and February 1st. Down the Front Range started in Denver.
okay.
Let's see here. So it looks like okay. About 10,000 workers in Colorado's Front Range, including 8,000 workers in the Denver metro area, are preparing to vote for a potential strike starting Wednesday. This was put out Tuesday.
Okay, so it hasn't hit our store here in Greeley yet, but let's hope it doesn't. So
So
yeah,
tomorrow's your day to go.
Yeah,
If
I would say
tomorrow's your day to go.
your best bet.
Yeah.
tomorrow.
So what they're wanting, they want a significant wage growth, providing $4.50 an hour increase over a 4-year contract for top rate clerks, department heads, and pharmacy techs, and proposed changes to its healthcare plan. No surprise there. Proposing at the most a mere increase of $3 a week.
A week.
That's what it says. $3 a week.
Okay, I'm not understanding all that,
Yeah.
but holy crap. Well, here's the thing though. Insurance, and I know Jeremy knows this firsthand, but
Yeah.
insurance. So remember that mammogram I'm supposed to go get because they found something?
Yeah.
Not getting it,
Really.
really. Because my deductible is 500. I didn't find out about this until yesterday.
Oh, jeez.
So guess what? That's going to wait. That's going to wait. So,
Do you
it,
remember what I said what my deductible was last year?
no. It was over 1,000, wasn't it?
3,000.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
didn't
remember.
know that until after the procedure.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, they called me because they were letting me know, hey, you're gonna have to pay this at the time. I'm like, no, you can kiss my ass. No, we're not because you might have made a mistake on the first one you did. She said, well, the first one was preventative, so that's deductible doesn't have to come out of that. The next one is diagnostic, so that is deductible. Excuse me. Wait. Let me get this straight. So preventative is they scan you, and when they find something, because that's what they're trying to prevent, it then becomes diagnostic, and that's when all your money has to come in. Excuse me, what the fuck? You got this shit backwards. So yeah, no, we're no.
Tom, you actually have to pay that out of pocket?
Yeah. He, in fact, he and I were talking on the phone last night about it.
Dad had to have
He's really going. He's going through a really rough time.
Dad
And
had to have spinal shots a few years ago before COVID happened, and he had to have his like every 4 months or so,
yeah.
God.
and it never worked for him.
Well, and here's the thing. That's like Zach. He's been doing the Botox for his. Yes, it's helped his wrinkles, but he's been doing it for his migraines. Which until I got with him, I didn't know that was a thing, but it is. So his doctor moved away, and he went to another doctor. In the meantime, they changed the insurance because we no longer have Andrew. So they changed his insurance where he was going to have to pay like $3,000 for every 3 months. Uh, you've lost your ever loving mind. And a few phone calls later, he doesn't have to pay anything. Tell me how that happens. I mean, why it should not happen. Why should a phone call make a difference?
You call him, bitch him out.
Right, but you
Yeah.
shouldn't have to do that. Those poor people on the end of that phone are they're not the ones that dictate what happens. I just
Yeah, it is because of you that I actually tried to watch what I say with these people, and then when for some of them, I had to threaten one with a lawsuit.
now
Oh,
I
really?
was going to come after Medicaid with a lawyer.
here, I'm gonna say something about that since we're on that. Okay, guys, no matter who you're talking to, on the other end of that line, they have no control. But I'm going to tell you what they do have control of. There's things you can say, such as, I want to speak to your manager immediately.
That's the thing. She's saying it was not possible. As why? They're in a meeting. Pull them out. I need somebody right now.
We cannot pull them out. That's something we can't do.
Well,
But
she did. She did. When I told her that I have legal rights because I had the guardianship papers and everything, that I have a legal right provided to me by a court of law, by lawyers. She
yeah,
said, "Okay, okay, okay."
yeah. So that
Second,
can't always happen. We'll do that. That can all. I can't. I can't pull people out. I can do one of two things. The first thing I do is offer a business day callback. If they refuse that, if it's within the hours, there's always somebody I can transfer them to. Now, there are times that that place is closed, so we can't do that. But that's one thing you can do. The next thing you can do is tell them if it's, let's say, it's a company you're calling, then you go to HR. You tell them, that's fine. I'll go to my company because their company is contracted with you. I guarantee you they'll get off their ass. The other thing, if you get on that phone and that person acts shitty in any way, if they have a tone that acts like they're not wanting to help you, immediately hang up and call back. Get somebody else. Because that person is full of shit. But here's the thing, if you're mean to the people that are on the call, they kind of do have your fate in their hands. So if you're shitty, there's things they could do. But if you're nice, there's also things they can do beyond what they're telling you. I always have to take the phone from dad because as an older person, he doesn't understand the phone system, the different things, especially if he's calling about tech stuff, and they get really upset with him. And then so in turn, he's really upset because he can't figure it out, and it turns into a bad mess. So, and then they end up screwing him. But honestly, if a waitress, and I've been all these things, a waitress, a bank teller, it doesn't matter. If you're nice, there's a lot they can do. But if you're an asshole, there's also a lot they can do that is not in your favor.
I
It,
did. I did come across one person who was lazy. Um, it
mhm.
was it was during the earlier stages when I was trying to get a form saying that I no longer had insurance through them because the company had went from insurance company to insurance company. They changed like three
Okay.
different times over the course of 5 years. I
Right.
did not know that. So I had called into this one insurance company, just explaining the situation and asking it, well, that you got to get that to your work.
Hmm.
Okay. That's not how it's supposed to go, but okay. I hang up. I call back the next day, got somebody different, explained the exact same thing. Oh, yeah, I can do that for you.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the other person, she just didn't want to do it. And I was nice to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. So at that point, you let the person you're talking to know that. Because if somebody lets me know that on the phone, that either somebody was rude, if they tell me that the person before was rude, I immediately message my manager on Teams and they will pull the call. And if that person was rude, they're gone. We don't tolerate rude. They're gone.
She wasn't rude to me, but the way that she talked was, I could tell she was a very lazy person.
Well, and
No, I'm
even
not
that,
surprised.
if we do something, if we know that we can do something and we don't, and somebody pulls that call, we don't work there anymore. That's not how that works.
I can't remember if I said anything to the second lady. I,
I always would. Just do it.
yeah,
And if that happens, and even if that lady doesn't take it serious that you talk to, then you say, you know what, this happened, and I'd like to speak to your manager. They will pull all the calls because all calls are recorded.
yes.
Yep.
They will pull them. And there's been so many times they pulled my calls, and they're like, Adrian, why didn't you hang up on this person? I'm like, why? They're not bothering me any. Well, yes, but when they're talking to you that way and they talk to maybe somebody else that way, it might bother someone else. So you need to let them know immediately this behavior is unacceptable. If you do it again, I'm hanging up the call. They're not allowed to talk bad to us. They're not allowed to cuss at us. And they're actually not allowed to cuss to us. But we had one guy in particular. So I'm going to tell this story. He says, he starts the call with the first thing you're going to do is shut up and listen.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow.
At that point, my manager was listening to the call with me because she was doing an evaluation. And I'm like, and I thought maybe if I play with him for a minute, it'd be fine. I said, okay. He says, you guys have done nothing but not do your job. So I'm going to tell you how you're going to do your job. I didn't say a word. He continued. It's like, okay. And then he got to what he wanted me to do that was out of my scope of doing. And I said, I can't do that, but I can do this. And he's like, no, you're going to do exactly what I tell you you're going to do. No, sir, I'm not. Now, and this continued for 15 minutes. And my boss was typing, hang up. And I'm like, no, I'm having fun. He continued until we sent his call to his boss, a copy of the whole thing. He called back again at another point. Well, they fired him because this sucker, the first thing out of his mouth is, I'm autistic. So you're going to do what I say. All right, let's go there. I said, so if you're autistic, you should understand we all have different issues. Now, is there something I can help you with? Yeah, you're going to do what I say. Nope, that's not part of autism. I don't know what you're thinking.
No.
I said, now what you're doing is using that as an excuse, and that is an embarrassment.
It would be. Yeah, that's embarrassing for obviously someone like myself.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So he called back the other day. He'd been fired and was
Oh,
telling us what we're going
good.
to do with his situation. Sir,
Yeah, he deserves it.
you know, I he could have done without that. He was just an asshole. That's all there was to it. He was an asshole. His wife took the phone when I was talking to him, and I was like, if you can talk to me more civil, I'd be glad to fix this situation with you. And she did, and we fixed it. Sure, Jenny, talk
What
to
is
me.
what is with people like in this day and age who uses that kind of stuff as an excuse?
Oh, I've heard everything. everything. One of the things that sticks with me so bad is, and I had to take a break after this call because this lady was talking to me, wanting to know, what we offer, this and that, and then all of a sudden she says, "I'd like to go back to school because, I'm such and such age, and my husband just passed away last month." Oh my God. And we've been together, I think she said 42 years. And I'm like, what do you say to that? All of a sudden we're talking business and then she hits that. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I went into friend mode at that point. It was no longer business. It was like, how are you doing? She needed someone to talk to. That's all it amounted to.
This kind of takes me back to when I had to call that case manager at the workman's comp and bitch her out because they weren't um, approving my surgery, and I was less than a week away from having that surgery, and they told me that they still hadn't approved it,
Yeah.
and they had it on their desk more than a month prior, and they still hadn't done it.
Yep.
And I called her and I ripped her one.
Yeah.
She was the one directly responsible for my case.
Hmm.
So I'm going to be honest. I don't feel bad at all for yelling at her.
Oh, I would.
Cuss
I
her
would.
out.
I
Well,
would
yeah,
have done the same thing.
Yeah,
that's
I did
different.
not cuss her out. I didn't even yell. Well, I kind of didn't really have the ability to yell, but I was very, very firm.
Yeah.
And I told her, "You guys have been dicking me around. By the time this day comes, it'll have been, I don't know what it was at the time. This was for the surgery that ended up failing because of the trach in my throat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I still ended up having to go another 30 days because I told her, you know, 3 months of not eating food. This surgery needs to happen. This surgery has to happen. This surgery will happen. By
Yeah.
the end of business day today, you will have that
Yeah.
approval in
Yeah,
there.
it was going to happen one way or another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't by the end of that day, but it was the next morning they had
Yep.
it. So, oh, I was pissed.
Yeah. Yeah. This guy used it as an excuse. He really did. And it didn't work for him. Now, mind you, this guy worked for a very, very large corporation. And this corporation, it takes brains, and it takes lots of brains, more than I have, to work at this corporation, unless you're a janitor, because this takes a lot. So,
Oh, like an engineering company.
something like that. More of a electronic company.
Yeah, we got a company like that here in town called Raytheon.
I know them.
Yeah,
Yep, I deal with them, and they're actually very, very nice. Very
yeah.
nice people.
Yep.
But yeah, no, this was nothing more than an excuse. And if he had the mentality to go through the interview for this company, he has the mentality to be able to speak to a representative about his benefits without that bullshit. There's no doubt about it.
To me, I mean, obviously, again, speaking from someone who actually has it, not use it as an excuse, it's just disgusting to me that people are using that as an excuse. Like I don't even know how to really even put that into any more words, honestly.
Right.
I wouldn't say some people would use it as an excuse.
Well,
There's
yeah,
a time to bring it up
yeah,
and not just try to use it to get whatever.
Oh, if he
right. No, no, like
wants
for us, legitimate, like those who legitimately have it,
to,
you
right.
know, we do have our challenges, and our autism certainly can affect us in some way, shape, or form. It's not necessarily, I mean, yes, it might be still considered an excuse to some degree, but I don't look at it that way. It's just, as I would certainly say, there's just certainly some things that are just beyond my limits.
Yeah. And if he would have told me, if he would have said, look, I have, he didn't even have to use the word autism. If he would have said, hey, the way I understand things is this way. Can you talk to me this way? Great. I have people do that all the time. I've even had nurses call in and say, talk to me like I'm a toddler because I'm not understanding this policy. And I'm like, okay, I would much rather hear that and
I
explain.
would imagine that's for a lot of people because when it comes to policies, when I look at them, they look like they're in legalese.
And what they have is a shortened version of what we have. And this isn't like insurance policies. This is their policy for their benefits for education. So, they have a shortened version. We have a huge version of everything that could happen and how we handle it. So, I understand when they say that. And I'm like, okay, tell me the scenarios and I'll tell you what we can do.
Okay, so with that, if they have a short version, and then you start reading off of the version that you got, and they say, "Well, that's not what mine says. Why don't I have that?"
It's not like that because let's say it says if you go on leave, you're not allowed to get paid until you come back from leave for your benefits. It says that for them. But what it doesn't say is we hold it. We tell them the details. Your payroll is going to hold it. We send it to them, but your payroll is going to hold it until you come back. We have the little minor details, but they have everything they need. Don't do this. This is your deadline. What I have is if you miss that deadline, let's do an appeal. I have that. They don't. So when they call in, I'm like, okay, let's do this. It's not a guarantee of approval, but it is something that we can try. So it's not really, they have all they need to do set in stone. What we have is how can we maybe get around it?
Right.
Okay.
I'm just reading what Jenny was just saying about her daughter. To make sure she showers. Well, and you know what, Jenny, believe it or not, you're not the only one. There are still things. Even my mom still checks on me with certain. Not the case with showers or anything, but just certain things like, um, I guess especially when I go out, like I have my wallet. Just the simplest of things.
I do
So.
that with my husband. That's not that's not unusual. As a matter of fact, I get a text. I forgot my wallet.
Well,
That's
another
because
idea.
it's right here.
Well, another big thing I could think of, and I'm sure this wouldn't surprise you guys whenever I go on a lot of these road trips or so, or like when we came out to Colorado, she was checking every now and then just to check to see how I was doing because I was away, obviously.
I do
Oh,
that with
you're
my
her baby.
son.
Huh?
You're her baby.
Yeah, I still am.
I do that with my son, and he's 25. I do that with him. I do that with my daughter. I do that with my 32-year-old daughter.
She does it with us sometimes.
I
Yep,
do.
yep.
I demand you guys let me know when you get home. And we were talking about that the other day because I have in-laws that
Hey, Mimi.
forgot common courtesy. When you get somewhere, you say, hey, I'm here. It's common courtesy. That's what it is. And that's what we were talking about. We demanded you guys let us know when you get home. It's because we worry, and it's because we want to know you made it safe. We can't get that through the old people's head.
Yeah.
But I promise you, when we go to even Kansas, 5.5 hours away, we say, "Hey, we made it." We call, "Hey, we made it." It's common courtesy.
I do that again, and come to think of it now, I do that a lot whenever when I make it out to the events. It's not to say that here I am, like hey, check this out, I'm at this location, like because you guys see me a lot saying we arrived. It's not to say we're there. It's to show that hey, we made it, we're
Yeah,
good, and that's all that matters. It's not to say hey, check it out, we're over here or something like that. It's a safety hazard. So
it
as
is.
I would put it, as I would say it, if my immediate family doesn't, get word about it yet, at least they'll know later on, and also many others will know that I'm safe.
And if something happens, we know the world we live in. If something happens, when you type, "Hey, I made it here," we know exactly what time you arrived. We know where you were at the last time that anybody knew where you were. And if something happens, authorities can backtrack from that place.
Yep.
And that's the whole idea of it. I have my location turned on. Jan has it. Zach has it. It's it's just so.
Locations on Facebook.
No, on my phone.
Oh.
No, I don't put locations on my Facebook because I got an ex-husband that is just dumb enough to show up and get his head blown off.
My location is turned on.
Jan, only two
I
people.
never realized it, but my location is okay. Yeah.
It's common courtesy, and it's not husband and wife. A lot of times be like, no, that he's too controlling or she's too controlling. Well, maybe that is the case for some, and it's because they want to know exactly where they're at, why they're there, who's there
Oh,
with.
somebody's there.
It's probably Zach coming down the stairs. These dogs have been very unsettled since we're actually upstairs.
Sounds like they're pretty on edge.
They are.
They're always on edge. They bark at everything.
Yeah. Oh, they've been barking at me coming down the stairs here recently because I'm working way upstairs and nobody's upstairs anymore except
Well,
for us at
I
night.
remember the first time that I was staying with you guys for 4 days, and on the last day, they saw me take a suitcase out to the car, come back. They would not let me in. I had to go in through the house.
Wow.
That was when Zach had built that. Um, well, he was putting up that little chicken wire fence the day that I showed up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
got that little gate.
we
It
got
was,
rid of that.
yeah, I know you guys had that gone the next time that I was there.
They trampled that thing and made it into that flat. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Ghost ran through that and the wires. I think the wires scratched Zach's glasses.
Yep. He has no boundaries.
Yeah, he
No
was
boundaries.
Oh, I
dead.
can imagine.
Yeah, and here recently all these dogs are so upset because Rose has decided no dog gets near me.
Oh boy.
No dog. Because I can't be with her alone right now. And so when we tried the first night everybody was gone, we tried to go to bed and one of the little dogs came in and she blocked him. And I'm like, "Get up here, come on." They tried again and she bit him. I'm
Oh.
like, "Okay." So I'm sleeping in a whole different room because this dog decides no dog's going to sleep near me. or get near me. So today, which I keep the two little dogs in my room, he keeps the rest of them in our bedroom. Today, I'm in the office. Jasper tries to come in and lay by my feet. She blocks him. And she's like, "No, you're not getting in there." And I'm like, "No, you need to come here." And she bites him on the back of the neck.
Oh my god.
No, she doesn't bite him hard. She's just letting him know you're not going over there. And so we've had an issue with some territory here recently.
Yeah,
I was
that's
gonna say it sounds very territorial.
He is. He is.
wow.
Jeez.
She is territorial. He just wanted to be with somebody. So this is going to be a huge issue when Zach leaves because the two little ones are just going to have to stay downstairs. And I'm going to have the three upstairs.
Tell me about the dogs and why.
Rosie is Rosa Pitt,
She is boxer,
boxer. Okay.
and she is smarter than most humans. Yes, all the dogs are spayed and neutered. Yeah, she just decided. Well, mom and dad usually have the two little ones, and they're not ours, and she's not used to them. So it was kind of a wait, that's my mom. You don't get near her. Your mom just isn't here, so you need to go back down there.
So it sounds like it's going to be a fun 3 or 4 days for you.
it and during the day they're just fine if somebody doesn't try to get in my lap. I was trying to watch TV the other day. Mom's got this chair, and it's one of those old people's chairs where it'll stand you up.
Yes, I've seen those.
So, and it's got heat and vibration, and it's awesome. I love the heat.
We
So,
remember my dad when I was talking about my dad's uncle that passed away last month.
yeah.
He had that kind of a chair.
Well, mom has that chair. So I'm sitting in the chair, got the heat going, got the electric blanket on me, watching TV. And one of the little dogs tries to jump up on me. Rose comes from across the room to block the dog to make sure it doesn't get there. So we're not going to allow another bite. So we're like, oh shit. So yeah, this is going to be interesting.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's gonna be quite a change.
Do you think you'd be able to break her of that?
No, no, because mom and dad will come home. They'll be in her lap, and we won't have to worry about it. No, that's I'm hers, and that's all there is to it. And ain't no other dog in it. As a matter of fact, we went to the lake last summer, and Zach let them all off their leash.
Oh god.
Well, they were sitting there with us like good dogs, and somebody was walking their dog. Rose does not like another animal. It's just not happening. No other
Even
animal can
another
get near
even
you.
another dog?
Oh, especially another dog. And the guy was walking his dog on a leash, and she went after that dog. And before Zach could get up the hill to get her, she was up there just, on her hackles up, and it was bad.
Oh man.
And he's calling her back, and she's not coming. And that guy raised his fist to her. And I said, that's the worst thing you can do because you're now about to get bit.
Yeah, that's like, what the hell are you even thinking?
I know what he was thinking. He was trying to protect his dog. I understand. But that was just not the thing to do.
Nope.
Zach got to her before anything happened, and she will never be off a leash at the lake again. She
I just don't
is
understand. I
she's
just
a
don't,
boxer and looks like Pitt.
I just don't understand how somebody out there like would be willing to put their fists up despite the risks they're taking.
I understand you're going to try to protect your dog. I'm afraid I would have kind of done the same thing. Like, hey, you're not going to touch my dog. You can hurt me, but you're not going to hurt my dog. You're going to protect your dog like your kids. So I get where he was coming from. She's just the wrong dog to do that to, because
Yeah.
then she's going to come after you.
Yeah. Isn't that the truth?
And she's different now. Our little. If you work with dogs, Jenny, I would love some advice on my uh, on the border collie mix. She was abused before I got her, and she is scared of everything. Um, and her thing is, because she's, they're healer dogs. So she will go behind somebody as quietly as she can and just nip the back of their leg.
Hmm.
And she has drawn blood twice.
Jeez.
Uh,
She does that to me almost every day that I'm there. She gets to the back of my leg, or she'll try to get the front of my knee.
yeah, her doing the front is very rare, but and especially men. Now she has
That's
hurt,
when I'm sitting down somewhere.
yeah,
She'll do it.
she has hurt two women. One was Andrew's mentor, and she had been here 100 times, and I don't know what made her do it that day, but she didn't like her attitude or her, I don't know.
I didn't know
And
she did that to women. I thought she always did that to men.
she did it to her.
Okay.
Um, and then she did it to a child when she got out and got in the park. She bit a kid. And then my son, she'll always bite him in the back of the leg. He goes, well, I smacked the shit out of her. I'm like, no, on her butt. And she kind of looks at me. And he said, I didn't know she was biting me. I thought she was just nosing me. I said, no, she bit you. And she also did that to um, one of our friends that comes over here all the time from Pueblo. She never drew blood on her, but she, whatever happened to her is unreal, because if I if
She's
I
very
even
skittish.
yeah, if I even yell at
Yeah.
her and tell her, and it's not yelling, it's like, get over here, she freaks. I don't know what somebody has done to her. She's never uh, I don't know. I'd hate to see what somebody has done to her, because border collies are smart and greyhounds are not skittish.
She would come up to me. I'd be sitting there in your at your kitchen table. She would come up to me and she would try to come up to my knee, and then I would just look at her. I don't move, but I look at her, and we make eye contact. She tucks tail and goes.
Yeah, yeah. I really, and when nobody's around and she's just around us, she's great. Now here recently, she started guarding the food. She'll lay there in front of the food, and
Food.
they've had all the food they can handle. I mean, anytime it's empty, it's full again. But she's guarding the food.
Jenny says never make eye contact.
That's it. That's the way that I gotta get her to get away from me.
She also said don't slap her. People allow Garen, if I'm saying that right, and collies, etc. You do not slap her. Oh, hey, Noreen. Surprised to see her here. Collies are pretty picky with who they like and can be pretty skittish when you have to know them as an individual as to how they tick.
I tell you what, I had a border collie growing up, that straight border collie, full blooded, and I gave it commands in Bulgarian, and that dog actually saved, maybe not my life, but it did save my virginity. Um, I was 8 years old,
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
and we lived in a campground because my mom was in a hospital in a different town. And we had built a little fence for this dog. And this kid, to me, he was much older, but I'd say he might have been 14, 15, looking back now.
That's a
And,
lot older when you're only 8
Uh,
years old.
yeah.
yeah, but to me, he seemed so much older, like an adult.
Oh, okay.
Just had that look.
Well, when you're a kid, everything's bigger and grander than it is. But
No, that's because you're tiny.
yeah, and he came over to my house. My dad worked all the time. It was just me at home. And he came over to my house with a dirty magazine,
Oh, jeez.
and I wouldn't let him in. And I was like, no, no, we're good. No. I don't remember what I said, but he tried again to come in the house. And I told my dog, I had him by the collar and I said, get him. I only meant to scare him, but the dog, he was stronger than I was. And he bit him. And of course, my dad got called and the whole bit, and they had to check for rabies, but he saved my life. And this dog was the smartest dog I have ever seen in my life. He was with me from then till the time he died 15 years later. But he was never skittish. But this one, something has happened to her, and I wish I knew what. I got her off Facebook because they said they couldn't keep her, and that she kept hiding under a table and wouldn't, just like, didn't want to interact with anybody. So I knew something happened, and I thought we can give her a better life, which we have. I mean, she's fine, but I hate the way she acts. And the other one has gotten defiant. Ghost. He's gotten to where he'll look at you when you tell him something like "fuck you."
That's complete opposite from what I remember.
He's a big dog to be telling me "fuck you."
Ghost, Ghost was the kind of dog that he loves everybody. It seemed like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
Yeah,
from what I
tried
saw
to-
when I was at
in
the
the
house.
house, then he don't want you. But
He
once
tried
you're
to
in the house,
bite
you're
someone.
fine.
No, we had some window people here the other day, and he almost bit one of them.
Oh,
Oh boy.
yikes!
So I don't know what's going on with these animals. It's this change, I'm sure, but it has to come to an end. They have to go back to good animals.
I was gonna say, like, are you sure they're like, are they just going through some kind of phase or something like that, or?
Okay, well, here's the thing. You said at the top of the show that um, people are registering seismic activity right there in Yellowstone. Do you think that what's going on in Yellowstone is somehow projecting out to the animals?
It could be. I'll know a little more once mom and dad come back and everything goes back to normal. Um, Ghost is just getting.
Somehow animals seem to know.
Yeah, they definitely
They
do.
start to act different.
Yep. I can't tell you how many times I've heard of that.
Well, poor little Pixie and Jasper. I won't pick Jasper up. Of all the big dogs we got, I'm scared of Jasper. I'm not picking his ass up because if you pick him up, he's heavy. He's fat, so it can hurt him when you pick him up, and he'll turn to bite. And I'm afraid if he turns to bite, I'm going to release, and he's going to fall on the ground, and I don't want that. So I don't pick him up. I make him get on the bed with me, which is really tall, and he has to try a few times. Pixie, I pick up and put in bed with me, and they're both like one will curl up in my belly, the other in the back of my legs, and they're amazing dogs. What I'm scared of is Pixie's going to die before mom gets home, and then there's going to be a problem. But she can go in any day. She's bad. You can tell she has heart issues because she coughs all the time, and that's a huge sign of heart problems. She is 15 years old. I don't want mom to ever leave her again because
Is she a support animal?
no, 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 she's just part of the family.
Okay.
You gotta love them.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Oh, holy cow! We're coming up on 2 hours now.
Yep.
Oh shit!
It's gone by pretty quick.
That well, you've only been on for an hour.
What?
Yeah,
An hour? An
yeah. I don't know
hour?
what you're
Oh, an
talking.
hour and a half at least.
You dog, you didn't come in half an hour late. You came in later than that.
Yeah,
No, no, I
you
did not
you
come
got
in an
here
hour
about
late.
45, 50 minutes into the show.
No, no, that can't be the case at all. I was keeping an eye on the clock.
Nick, we talked about
We all know
Well, then
next
again,
time. Remember, we've already coined that. You're on next time.
well, I mean, then again, like I was saying before, maybe it was a good thing I
Here's
was
the
late
thing.
prior to what you
You
guys were
have
talking about.
Eastern Standard Time, you have Central Standard Time, and then you have Mid Standard Time.
Okay.
oh yeah, collies are very smart.
They are. They really
Collies
are.
and labs. Absolutely.
See, my sister's
I
dog.
swear Rose is a human.
I have well, my sister's dog, as you guys have probably seen some pictures of her, Mabel. She's like a true hybrid. She's literally a hybrid of different types of dogs. Like we know some of her different breed backgrounds, if that makes any sense. But I don't even know if we're gonna know. There's so many more breeds within her. I mean, I don't think we're gonna know exactly every single one that she's mixed in with. It's like it's incredible. Then again, she wasn't from this area. My sister actually got her. She was from Arkansas, in fact. So I
She's
don't
a
know what her,
mutt. That's called a mutt.
yeah, she's a true no. She is a true mutt, and we don't even know all of her background breeds. We just only know a couple. We just only know a couple of them.
You can tell what sticks out though. What part of her?
I would not be surprised if maybe she does have some collie mix in her.
It's possible.
But it's weird when she was born. Like when we first got her, when she was just like a little puppy, was that she resembled almost like a black lab. Like she looked like a baby black lab. But then when she grew up, she still has this now. She developed white fur on her chest region, and her ears then changed shape, and now they're like big and pointy looking. She almost now looks like she's. We know she's part lab, she's part Rottweiler because of her ears. I wouldn't be surprised that maybe she also may be part German Shepherd or even a Pharaoh Hound. In fact, um,
What?
a Pharaoh Hound. That's another type of dog.
Tom said that Mabel bit him.
Yeah, he said
Okay, who's Mabel?
she's my sister's dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that the one you're always talking about that's yapping away at you?
Oh, yeah, that's her. That's her.
Okay, so she's constantly talking.
She
That's a
she
husky.
she barks a lot. Um, like when it's just us and her. Um, she usually relatively is pretty quiet, although she definitely does get crazy and hyper. She's a dog. She wants to have a lot of fun with us, but
You never said her name. You always saying, there's my sister's dog again.
oh, I said. Oh, I thought I said Mabel a few times. Well, at least once or
Not
twice.
that I remember.
Okay. Well, maybe yeah. I know I've said well in posts. I know I've said Mabel's name, but anyways, she you know usually it's just when it's just us and her, she's pretty quiet. But the slightest of noises will definitely, you know, will what's the word I'm thinking of?
They go into hysterics.
Yeah, they go into hysterics. So, she's like she always thinks that there's like somebody at the door. So that now when we often have guests over, she'll usually bark at them. Like especially if they're standing. Like if they sit down, she doesn't really I think she feels a little bit intimidated sometimes, but like when anybody sits down, she's not as concerned as when people are standing up. Word just came back to me. She gets riled up. That's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that with border collies, like Jenny said, they have a job. They're herding dogs. They have a job, and they need to. I wish I had a farm for this dog. Now she will never have a farm because she's never leaving our house. But she loves to play ball. That's her thing. We go out and play ball with her constantly. But she
Um,
has to have something to do. It's
Well, I know Mabel is also. I mean, we're hoping it stays this way too. Is because this is my same sister who has my niece. I know Mabel. She's very protective of the baby.
oh yeah, yeah, and I've heard lots of breeds doing that. I've heard of like Rottweilers that will go and like the baby's crawling toward the road, they'll grab them by the diaper and pull them back, or they're going toward the pool, they'll pull them back. I mean,
Somehow they know that babies are defenseless and they go in to be their defender.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's. I guess you can kind of say with Mabel, despite that she's only like 5 years, 4 or 5 years old, it's kind of like mother instincts, if you will,
yeah,
that she has.
oh yeah, yeah. My dad was a vet, and the things that he would talk about, and he was scared to death of a Great Dane.
Great. Oh wow, they're huge. Yeah.
That's why he was so scared, because he was walking into a facility, and you know those little hospital doors they used to have that had the tiny windows.
Yep.
Mhm.
One was standing up in the window, like
Oh.
where it shouldn't have been when he tried to walk through the door. So he was scared of Great Danes, and he's scared of cats, because he was laying in a hammock one time, had his hands down, and the cat mauled the shit out of him because it had babies underneath him. Come here. This one is a Dalmador. He's Dalmatian and Labrador, and just dumber than a box of rocks most of the time, aren't you?
I can attest to that.
He really, he really is dumber than a box of rocks.
But he is also very playful
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
doesn't realize how big he actually is.
No, because we let him on our laps.
I didn't realize. I just decided to look this up about I just decided to look up about Great Danes. Is that I didn't realize it was one of the two largest dog breeds. I mean, I knew it was. I thought there. I didn't realize there were only two largest dog breeds in the world. The other one, ironically, since Jenny's here, the other one is the Irish Wolfhound.
And this is Rose. This one is Rose. Huh. Ah, you stink.
Hey, you asked for it.
You stink. You stink. Okay, down you go.
When I was a kid, I've had three dachshunds.
Oh, Dachshunds, yeah, the
Yeah,
wiener dogs.
those are my favorite dogs, and I've had one border collie.
It's funny to think that Dachshunds are the wiener dogs.
Mhm.
I don't see those very often. That's kind of a rare thing for me to breed for me to see. We just don't have very many of them over here.
Yeah, that was for whatever reason when I was a kid. Those are my favorite. They still are my favorite dogs.
Dachshunds are not something I have really dealt with.
They
Chihuahua?
are very protective. When the last one that I had, I was working night shift, so I would sleep during the day, and he would actually sit the back half of his body in my room, the front half of his body out in the hallway, and more or less stay there the whole time I'm sleeping. He's very protective, um, territorial to a point, but he was never like, you're not coming into this house or anything like that. But he did go after a possum.
Oh, a possum, really?
Yeah, we out in the back deck, a possum had got into the deck, and soon as he went out that door, he spotted him, and he went right after him.
These animals, it's so strange because they'll go after squirrels and everything out in the backyard, but they have never went after the bird. The bird can walk all over them, and does.
Huh.
It's funny to think this was from a few years ago, but one of my cats actually tried catching a possum once, but I don't. It wasn't for probably that same purpose. I think she was just trying to play with the possum, and because the possums have like those long tails they got, I think she was trying to play with its tail, and the opossum kept looking back like with this annoying look like. Just leave me alone, for God's sakes! Like, get out of here. I don't think my cat realized, you know, what role opossums play and what their tails are really meant for. She just thought it was a toy to her.
Yeah, I make sure I'm up to date with the shots with these guys because squirrels are everywhere around here, and I feed them on the roof. So there's not an animal I won't take in. So
My dad almost took for part time, almost kind of took in a squirrel that we had. But that not as an actual pet, but it trusted him because he actually saved its life. Um, Somehow this squirrel fell into our pool, and this was around the time when our pool was not being in use. This was like during the winter season, and he was able to pull it out. And I guess because he saved its life, it kind of trusted him, and he started calling. He start he gave it some food and stuff, like just like crackers or whatever. And funny enough, that actually gave it the name Cracker. But I guess you got to say the friendship he had with the squirrel was short lived because eventually it just kind of moved on.
a lot of times those squirrels will bring their babies back to you and show
Yeah.
you.
Well, the problem is too, and this might be a reason why maybe Cracker disappeared was not surprisingly. Um, every now and then we usually have hawks in our
Yeah.
backyard, and that's usually quite a threat. Just like any predator, a lot of the other wildlife we have disappears, including the squirrels that usually go into hiding immediately because they know when danger is nearby. So I think Cracker in this case just decided to leave, just basically decided just to get away and probably find a safer areas because so that way he wouldn't be preyed upon by the hawks. Hopefully he's still around.
You never know. Those hawks are, around here we have bald eagles
Oh yeah,
up in the mountains. Hawks, they could take Pixie in a minute.
there
So
was there was actually one time. This was over 10 years ago that we had a not a squirrel this time a rabbit where we had a mother rabbit. She made a nest in our yard in the front yard this time. Made a little nest and see at that time my dad said she gave birth to like 5 or 6 babies, which I don't know how it was possible. I mean, we actually held them just to check to see how they were. Which I was always under that impression. I guess it doesn't work like this for every animal, if you will. For years, I was always under that impression. Like you hear like you touch any of the babies, their mother won't come back or something like that.
yeah,
Well,
that's birds.
Yeah,
I was
right.
going to well, birds and bats. It's same with bats too, believe it or not. Um,
Yeah, something about your scent taints them, or
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's not the case with rabbits, but I think the mother rabbit actually kind of observed us a few times, like from a distance, and probably knew that we weren't a threat to them. I think she knew we were trying to keep them safe. Like especially, well, it would make a lot of sense, especially when we had to mow the grass. We often would when we had to mow the grass, we often would put them in a bowl with a towel on it, just so they had a safe place.
Hmm.
But that wasn't everything that we had to worry about. There was on one occasion where there was a hawk that, and I learned recently that even though they're usually high up in the sky, I heard they got really good eyesight.
Hmm.
So that hawk, I think, knew there was a nest of these baby rabbits, and obviously because these were also just literally like these were just born within the last few days. So like they were like probably no bigger than the size of my thumb. That's how they almost they looked like mice, literally, like 'cause their ears were not even fully developed. And so because obviously we had this love for nature and animals, if you will, we weren't there was no way we were going to let these baby rabbits, who were just born a few days prior, have their lives taken so soon. So we would often usually take them out, but I can tell you right now, there was one time we couldn't bring them into the house, of course, because they were still wild animals. But we decided, at the very least, like put a table on top and put a few other covers so it can prevent the hawk from trying to get into the nest. But I'm telling you though, there was a few occasions I looked up to where that hawk was up in the tree, even though he was high up and I was on the ground. I could see the look on that hawk's face. He was ready to attack the hell out of us. He knew we were preventing his meal, and he was. I mean, seriously, I'm not lying. I was expecting a peck on the head, or like on it by its beak or its sharp claws at any second. We knew it was pissed off. So, but we were able to save them either way.
Well, I'd be mad at you too if you took my food away from me.
Yeah, yeah. But in this, well, I think anybody would. But I had sympathy. These baby rabbits were defenseless, so we were doing everything we can to protect them. We weren't going to have their lives cut so short.
Right? Yeah, that's understandable.
Well, and I wasn't only just doing it for the sake for myself, and my family, because we're all animal lovers. At that time too, we had neighbors next door who had two kids who were really young at that time, and they saw the rabbits for themselves. For them, obviously, because they were not even 10 years old yet, it would have been heartbreaking for them.
Hmm.
So we were not only just doing this, obviously, for ourselves, these rabbits' lives, but we were also kind of doing it for our next door neighbors' kids, because that would be too much of a heartbreaking scene for them.
Yeah.
We only had 2 hours and almost 15 minutes.
Yep.
All right, we got to get off here.
We need to call it a night.
I got to just say one thing before we end. There is one thing though I would not hesitate for something to I mean for something to lose its life, and that undoubtedly would have to be cockroaches.
They have a place in this world, just not
I,
near humans.
you know what? I got to just ask real quick because my dad was watching this earlier today. Have you guys watched that series? I think it's Unexplained or Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd. Have you guys watched that series yet?
Uh-huh.
I
Good,
haven't.
show. Really good show, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so my dad was watching an episode of that, and I watched it with him too. They did one about like an eating contest or something like that, and it turned out there was a segment that they talked about that it's not always about how much you eat, it's about what you eat. And there actually was a food eating contest, one of the most disgusting ones I've ever seen, where people actually have to eat worms and cockroaches. They
That's
would
not
have like
like a
two.
segment from Fear Factor.
Yeah, that's Fear Factor.
I don't know if it was Fear Fact, if that's what it was called, but it was definitely that same element. And here's the thing: they were doing this just so they can get an $800 python.
That's Fear Factor. And they've eaten raw cow hearts and cow balls and all kinds of things. But I'm going to leave you with this, Nick. Do you know in every canned good by the FDA, you are allowed so many roach parts because it's inevitable. And in cheese, you are allowed so many mouse parts because
Oh,
it's inevitable.
And mice love cheese.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I've watched Tom and Jerry enough.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I was. It just came up in my head.
So you have eaten more roaches than you've seen in your
Oh
life, I'm
God,
sure.
don't remind me. And they were showing footage of roaches, and I thought of you guys and being well, especially Eileen. Eileen would have gotten a kick out of my reaction. And when they were talking about the roach, I'm like, oh no, it's missing roaches. It was like, God, no. Well, and here's the thing: they did a video. They showed a video of one of those eating contests, and there was a guy that actually did win the contest, although it's not supposed to be funny, but he ended up going to the hospital and he actually died as a result. And it turned out they thought it was like the toxins that he ate, but after when they like did like kind of an autopsy, well, not an autopsy, but like after they did kind of an investigation shortly after he passed away, no, it was because he was eating all of these roaches and worms so fast he choked on them. And to make matters worse and even more creepy, some of these roaches were still alive inside of him.
Oh, you can't kill those things. You can cut their head off and they still live for a month.
Yeah, I've seen it in a movie once, and it was disgusting. That's why I'm never. I even said to my dad, no matter how much you pressure me of trying new stuff, you will never get me to eat roaches, like actual roaches.
Yeah, I don't think
They will outlive humanity.
Yeah, I know they will. And
they're
that's why
aliens.
I'm asking myself to be cremated when I die, so they don't try to eat the remains of me.
Oh, speaking of aliens, I was watching Ancient Aliens these last couple days. We'll have to talk about this next week.
Yeah.
But Puma Punka, they think they figured out exactly what kind of a structure it was and got actual 3D um, imaging how it looked like back
That's
then.
awesome.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to talk about that next week
Yeah. Yeah.
because I am so interested in all of these structures that they've had. You know, what do they look like Puma Punka, Stonehenge. What did it look like? What did it? There's a there's a bunch of pyramids that they just discovered like about 10 years ago. I think it was maybe 20 years ago, and in northern South Africa. I don't remember South America.
So I was going to say,
Looked
sounds more
like
like
that
Northern
they
South America.
had built roadways between the cities that they used as highways to walk, um, and covered it with white limestone so that it could reflect the moonlight and you could see where you're walking.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, it is very interesting. So that's
That's,
we'll have to talk about next
yeah,
week.
we'll have to talk about that. All I'm just going to say is, I don't know what it is. History Channel with all these new shows with Dan Aykroyd, Trejo, and there was that third, can't remember the third guy's name. He was like from Matrix and whatnot. I don't know whatever point is. They've really put out a lot of really interesting stuff. On the History Channel.
Lawrence Fishburne.
Uh, I think so.
Is he did History's Mysteries.
No, actually now that you said that, I don't think it was. Oh wait, no, wait. You said Lawrence Fishburne?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's it. You're right. My mistake. Yeah, that's who it was. Who I was thinking, Lawrence. that's why I also like too is they're getting all these big names to like celebrities to be hosting these shows, and it's really well done. Of course, Ancient Aliens is still going strong after all these years.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is, and I love it.
Yeah, my friend Mike Ricksecker, my good friend, he's been on it quite a number of times now, which I think that's just awesome. And
Mhm.
Lauren Coleman, cryptozoologist too, he's still been showing up on that.
Those guys do a tour. A couple times now they've come through South Bend, Indiana, and I have been wanting to go. Philip Gibson lets me know when they're coming, but it's like, I can't go. They're here on a date that I can't go, and it's so irritating
I
because I want
know.
to see these guys.
Yeah, like all these like I'm sure not surprising to me. I'm sure when I go to these paracons and you see who I'm with, it's got to be rough, especially like when
No,
I
it's
see a
not
lot of times
Paracons that these guys are in. I don't give two shits about Paracons. These guys are actually touring together. It's like
yeah, okay, I know what
on
you're saying now.
tour.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I want to go to because I know that it would be so interesting what they're doing.
see, I was in addition to meeting Mike several times. I was fortunate enough to meet Lauren Coleman several years ago, so he was. It was quite an honor to me because I've watched him on different shows for years, and to finally met him at the Mothman Festival in West Virginia, and finally to meet him in person, that was a lot of fun. I've been trying to get him to be a guest on some of our shows, just haven't had that opportunity. Still hoping one day we could have him on. It just all depends on his schedule, obviously.
Yeah. They're busy. All
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
Let's shut this down for
yeah,
tonight.
it's getting late.
Yeah, I need to go to bed. I have been working on going to bed early so I can get up early. I've been
Doing,
trying to do that
doing
for the last week.
doing the same thing too, other than trying to get back to work on the audiobooks. But and
Yeah,
that's
but
all.
you actually have to work, so you do have to get up early in the
Well,
morning.
I don't have to. I don't have to tomorrow. Fridays are now my new days off. So, but the only other time I usually just stay up late is just again work on the audiobooks. But I either way I still go to bed early because it's also kind of a uh, contribute contribution for my weight loss, which you guys don't. I'm sure you guys already seen. I'll just throw it out anyway. I'm still at the same number, but I officially lost 30 pounds.
Awesome.
I
Yeah, I
found those
officially
30
made it.
pounds.
What's that?
I found those 30 pounds.
I found those 30 pounds.
Yeah, I am not joking.
Oh, well, I can't. No, I'm not. I know you're not, but I know the feeling.
Yeah,
Hey, Carl, who just showed up as we're about to end.
he did. But it happens.
Yeah, it does. There's always next week.
Yep, there's always next week. So next week we will try to start off with Puma Punta,
Yeah,
um, unless something else happens in the world that we have to address, which it seems like now every week there's something we have to talk about.
unless Eileen decides to finally show up again.
Well, if they would stop promoting people or losing people
Yeah,
and taking people away that she's trained, she would finally have a minute to show up.
yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of what she's done. Yeah,
Yeah,
been busy lasering. Yeah, isn't that the woodwork that
yep.
he's?
Mirror woodwork. Yeah.
Yeah,
If
that
you,
I'm
if you
looking for.
look at some,
I know he said he was going to make more like for things. In this case, for the chapters, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the woodworks are going to look like when he makes them for the chapters.
he's been having some of the stuff that he does behind him on his own show, so you can see some of the work that he does.
I know. I've been meaning to see that. I've been meaning to tune in to see that, but again, I've just again had a lot of work going on of my own, and plus I'm trying to get back to getting my slideshows for Nick Files.
I know you've been talking about doing that.
I know. I'm just again with just gonna say like with everything that's been happening these last few months with holidays and my ordeal at the hospital, it definitely pushed me back, and I'm just trying to get back on track with things. But I know a lot of people have been asking about Nick Files. I've been telling people it's not the end of Nick Files. I'm just trying to catch up on everything. It's going to take a while, but I'm going as fast as I can to get back to where I was.
I
You
know.
can't stress yourself out trying to get as fast
I'm
as
not trying. No, and I'm not trying to stress my. Well, especially after what happened to me at the hospital. I'm not going to stress myself. I'm just taking my time. I'm not in a rush, but I'll eventually get to the end of that track eventually.
Remember this. There's apparently a deadline to this world because that tornado, holy shit.
I was
That
going to say, wait,
volcano is about to, well, we don't know when, but if it does, we're done. So let's just enjoy every day.
But
exactly.
that'll be long after we're gone. That'll be
What
several
did you mean to say though? What did
thousands.
you mean to say though, Adrian? You said tornado, but what did you mean to say?
The volcano in
Oh,
Yellowstone.
the one in Yellowstone. Yeah, they're
Yeah, I
saying
wouldn't count on it being long after we're gone.
they're saying the same thing. I guess there's another one just like that out in Europe. They're saying the same thing for that one too in Europe also. So it's not. So it looks like you can kind of say both North America and Europe eventually. We're in trouble with the same exact thing.
Yeah,
Well, it's already happened in Europe once with the one in Italy,
yeah.
Pompeii.
Yeah, I think it was Pompeii.
Pompeii.
So let's
And then
just
also
enjoy every day.
that happened over 200 years ago with Mount Tambora in what's modern day Indonesia. That was when it created the year without a summer in 1816. There was no summer at all in any part of the world, but
Okay,
obviously,
that
I
was
think I read about that one.
what's that?
I think I read about that one.
Yeah, it created a volcanic winter, and 1816 became the what became known as the year without a summer. And it was actually one of the largest volcanic eruptions, like in world history. That's what triggered the volcanic winter. And to make matters worse, keeping everything short, some temperatures did not return to normal for 2 years until 1818 for some other countries. So a lot of famine, a lot of crops failed as a result of that. But it was that was quite an event, and I'm surprised we haven't gone through a similar event like that since the year without a summer.
no summer. Just go ahead and kill me. That's We're good. I
Well,
live in summer.
when you really think about it, I'm just gonna here's a quick trivia fact. During that winter of 1816, a well-known young writer, Mary Shelley, used the time to write a monster hit, which I think we all know, Frankenstein.
Yeah, I can imagine because you're going to be going crazy. You can think of all
Yeah,
kinds of strange things.
a lot of people had if you really think about it, it was kind of like a lockdown practically. Everybody had to stay in their homes,
Yeah.
and you know, in 1816, 200 plus years ago, you didn't have much to do, so Shelley used the time to write her story Frankenstein while they were confined in their homes. So believe you can kind of say Year Without a Summer also inspired a legendary story, believe it or not.
Yeah. All right. Let's say
All right.
goodnight.
Yeah, let's end things because I got things I got to do.
Yeah, I need to go to bed.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
you need to.
and Carl just mentioned he's going to be doing laser cuts of haunted houses, so that should be interesting to see.
That's going to be really. I'm going to be. I definitely would like to see
Yeah.
which ones he's going to. Well, I don't know if he's referring to like actual haunted locations or just like. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see.
I think it'd be cooler to see the actual just houses.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like like Amityville. That'd be pretty
Oh
cool.
my god! See that now? That is one I'd want to get because you know me all too well when it comes to
Yeah,
Amityville and that slideshow I made on that case about it.
I know.
I would have now
Right?
if I was to do Amityville again, I would want that in the background.
Her dogs are wanting her. So, okay, folks, we're going to go ahead and
Yep.
end for the night and for the week. Um, Next week we'll try to start off with Puma Punka because that it is
I
just
like
so
that.
interesting what I've been learning about them. 13th Dimension will not be on tomorrow night. I was talking to John. We're going to do a pre-record, and his episode will air in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
So until next
Talk about
week, thank
wrestling.
you guys so much for playing along with us, and you guys have a good weekend.
Good night, everyone.